Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fill Tank. And today I wanted to talk about something a little bit different because I just ran a 10-kilometer run today. I'm currently training for a half marathon that is happening next year. And I don't even like running. So, respect to all the runners out there. I do all kinds of different sports. I do martial arts, for an example, but I don't even like running. It burns a shit ton of carbs, it spikes your cortisol. I do it once a week on Sundays usually. Just take a jog before breakfast after a little bit of stretching and a small like warm up. But yeah, I did a 10-kilometer run from my city today. And I was struggling. Do I record something today, sort of half-assed, or just do I just let it be? But I decided to try to still do something. However, I recently thought about this a lot. I thought about pop culture of the early 2000s, where I grew up, and how fast everything is changing. Now, I don't want this to sound like a recording of an old man complaining about a changing world and that he couldn't keep up with, or that he stopped understanding and now he is just getting mad and screaming and everything. And I am aware of the fact that at a certain point of one's life, everybody becomes nostalgic of a certain time, period, an era, a phase, whatever it is, and is just reminiscing about this. Even Hunter Thompson wrote 1917 one in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. How the stillness, the calmness, and the optimism of the 60s finally vanished in the early 70s. Not the biggest fan of Hunter Thompson anymore, but I mean, I did a lot of drugs, so of course I watched the movie and later read the book Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Interesting character nonetheless. However, I recently, while I was at my day job, and I had a few minutes just to drift away with my thoughts, just look away from my monitor out of the window, I randomly thought about shows that inspired my humor. It was shows like Wander Chosen, if anyone remembers this one, was Kenny versus Penny, yeah, Jackass, Viva La Bam, CKY. I thought about how shows like this nowadays, they wouldn't have a place in nowadays mediascape. People, the majority of people just wouldn't understand these shows. Not because these shows were so deep and there was so much subtle and hidden stuff in those shows that a modern audience wouldn't be able to grasp it. It was that these shows, the humor, the of course it was shock value in a lot of cases with these shows, but just the brutal openness and honesty that these shows portrayed just won't find any appreciation with a modern audience, especially not with an audience nowadays that is largely orientating itself on outside influence in order to decide what is good content and what is quote unquote problematic, toxic, whatever those adjectives that they throw around are. But I didn't just thought about these shows and how I used to watch Kenny versus Penny on Sunday evenings before the school week started again, and that was sort of like a routine. I didn't just thought about the way how these shows may have shaped my fucked up humor. I was grasped by a feeling of nostalgia and pulled back sort of in this time. And nostalgia is nowadays often portrayed as something bad. And I am also not 100% on the side that nostalgia is something good. Nostalgia can make you dwell in the past. It can blind you and prohibit you from looking forward and letting go of something that is gone and will never come back. Nostalgia is not always something good, but it is also, it can be good in the case that it can give you sort of, if that makes sense, an orientation of where you at. Um, we can time travel with our perception. We can concentrate on the future, be optimistic about the future. We can also reminisce on the past and dwell in nostalgia, but in a way that it's positive. I believe it's in a way of looking back. There was this quote. I forgot who this quote actually is from, but I just heard it from one chick a couple of years ago. Only look back to check how far you came, or something like that. And I think for something like that, nostalgia can be a good tool. Not to dwell in the past and wish the good old times back, but to sort of orientate yourself where you came from, and just have a connection to your past and how it may shaped you. But of course, and this is what everybody says, this is also what most of the religions and philosophies say. Just it's trying to be in the present is the most healthiest thing. C.S. Lewis wrote this great thing. It was in the Screwtape Letters that I actually had to pause the recording to dig up this quote. He said, "The future of all things, the future is of all things the least like eternity. It's the most temporal part of time. For the past is frozen and no longer flows, and the present is all lit up with eternal rays." I'm not sure, but I believe he also said something along the lines of the past often makes us feel regret or sadness, and the future often lets us feel fear or hopelessness, but the present is really the moment that touches eternity. But I might be mixing up something right here. Anyway, the early 2000s was a weird time, the dot-com era. Remember the dot-com guy, the guy who changed his name to the dot-com guy, and then he live streamed from his house in Texas, how he stayed at home all the time, and he bought things like toilet paper and stuff online and didn't left his house. Boy, oh boy, was that guy ahead of his time in a sad and scary way. The dot-com guy. The early 2000s, the time until I would say like 2008, 9, it was a weird time, and I know everybody, my dad is probably like the 70s, you had to be there, but I feel like the early 2000s were filled with excitement. Yeah, I know 9/11 happened, but other than that, which was an insurance job, but other than that, the early 2000s, they were filled with excitement and almost a naive optimism towards the future. At the same time, with a small feeling of, with a small feeling that the things that might come might could be dark. But that wasn't really present in the zeitgeist back then. But still, the thing that happened when in June 2007 the first iPhone was revealed had, in my opinion, the same impact on humanity as the development of the nuclear weapon. It's not certainly in a bad way. I don't want to go full Ted Kaczynski here and say that all technology is bad. Sure, there are also good times. I'm not a one-sided guy that is only shitting on something. You can nowadays you can start a business with your phone. You can use it to make money. Sadly, of course, there is a multinational huge organized effort to distract you and steal your time, which is the blood of your life, with these little supercomputers that are camouflaged as phones. They offer you gambling, pornography, and all the other ways to destroy your financial safety and your morals. But yeah, 100%. You can use your phone for good also. So I'm not just here ranting about technologies that I don't understand. Um, but yeah, life never will never be as disconnected in a good way and carefree and easy and slow paced like it used to be. Which is, I guess, just how everything works. So once again, I'm not whining here about how everything um, seems to get worse. Even though everybody, even though this is the zeitgeist that we are living in right now, it seems like everybody is paranoid of each other, and it seems like it is getting worse. And the only things that are actually really having a progress, a drone technology and surveillance technology, and everything else just stalls or goes backwards, like space. I had a separate video on that, or that the video games still got loading screens. I mean, I can't even get an appointment at the doctor, and they're talking about Mars. But yeah, now we are at a point where, with the development of artificial intelligence, we are about to create something that will surpass, if it hasn't already surpassed, the atom bomb and the iPhone, with its impact on the structure of society and just human autonomy. I know we already see it in real time, all those little AI helpers and friends and therapists. I mean, I know people at my day job, they legitimately, not only at my day job, surprisingly, they're using ChatGPT as a therapist. They're just asking them questions instead of connecting to people. They just use these tools as some form of therapist. We see how human autonomy is suffering. Everybody is now asking the AI of something. It is actually about something. It is actually surprising on how often, when you text with a person, with a real person, or talk to a real person, even we can get into theory that there's only about 10 million real souls, and all the other people are just basically golems. They're just shells. But I don't want to get into that. I thought I waited a while until I come out with the real crazy videos. Um, yeah, it's actually crazy how often you talk to people or text with people, and they will refer to the AI. It is already a core. It is already a cemented part in everyday life. I mean, I don't use it that often. I use it mostly for research, for my videos or my essays. If I'm like, what's I don't know, what's Greenland's situation right now regarding independence from Denmark, and will they join the U.S. And however, if I want to find out stuff like that, I ask the AI, but not if, I don't know, my lower back feels weird, or I wake up tired, or if my stomach is growling even though I just ate. Not regarding those things. I stayed away from the AI for a long time. Didn't even use it, but now I just use it for these simple mundane things. Instead of like Googling for 10 minutes and reading, having to read free articles to get knowledge about a thing, I just ask the AI. And even then, you just get surface knowledge from that thing. I use it for, I don't know, generating tags for my videos. I don't think that is working quite too well. However, whatever you think about AI, whatever you might think about AI and the data centers, that are now being built everywhere that consume as much electricity as a whole city. But however, I guess our overlords just threw out the whole green agenda, or at least part of it, because we're now building the data centers everywhere. Of course, we need them because something China, but the cows are farting. You are eating too much meat. That's the real problem right here. You're eating steaks. That's the real problem. Um, However, whatever you think about AI, um, I'm more skeptical about AI. Not in the way that it will control humanity, but I think maybe that's just my limited knowledge and my ignorance regarding AI. But I think that maybe during 2000, in the second half of next year, 2017, 2027, when they found out that the main application for AI is chatbot, and that thing won't make your company 50% more efficient because the guy behind the counter will still fuck up the thing, and the cost of living will still get higher, and you still have to buy your resources at a higher price, and your employees are still messing up, and the AI can't really help with that. That I won't. I don't want to say the bubble will burst, but the expectations and the optimism regarding AI will certainly go down, I believe. And who knows? Maybe the data centers will be overgrown with vines and roots. Irregardless of what you think about AI, we already see in real time playing out the effects that it has on humanity and on human autonomy in the first place. Since the early 2000s, or since the mid 2000s, since the 2000s, we live in a time where children experience a fundamentally different childhood than their parents, or maybe even than the generation prior to them. Now we definitely live in a time where nowadays kids experience a whole different childhood than the prior generation to them. We see how human interactions and human behaviors change, and especially our language. And I can't stress this enough as somebody who is always recommending Edward Sapire's essay, The Status of Linguistic as a Science, from 1929, where he is writing about language as a tool for social interaction. I recommend it to everyone to read it. We see the decline of attention spans. We see how short format has become short videos have become the most favorite format. Is it YouTube Shorts, TikTok videos, or Instagram Reels, where quote unquote entertainment has been boiled down to the duration of the intro of a 80s TV show. Like, you guys remember the intro of Magnum PI or the A Team? Those intros were over a minute long because people who didn't knew about the show, who just watched the show for the first time, they couldn't Google what the show was all about. So they just showed a few scenes to show you the vibe of the show and what actors participate in that show. Now even the intros for TV shows, they get short and they get abstract. They don't really show you scenes from the show anymore because most of the time people just skip them on the streaming services. So now the main form of entertainment is little clips that are shorter than the A-Team intro was. We see this thing that I called already years ago. I called it microwave plastic culture, which is sort of this disposable pop culture. Like, songs stay in the do they call it charts nowadays? Like a song is cool for like a week, and when it gets 10 million streams, and then it's already out again, and the artist disappears somewhere into the obscure, just to be resurrected a few years later by a TikTok trend that is recycling that song, and so on and so forth. And once again, I'm not criticizing it. The whole point of this video is, I don't even think, is there even a point? Is there even a point to anything? I don't want to sound like a fucking nihilist, but the point of this thing is not to criticize kids that do TikTok videos. Nah, if the whole point of this thing would be just to criticize the kids nowadays would, or however, or just to criticize anything that is going to shit or that is going in a way that I don't like it, I would be part of the whole system that is focusing our attention and our time, again, the blood of our life, on all the negative around us. And this is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be a net positive on this whole thing. However, I think I'm gonna stop it right here. It's already 20 minutes. I want to keep it short, around 15 minutes. The thing is that the 2000s are gone, just like shutter shades or borrowing your friends' CDs with the risk of never getting them back. And this is absolutely okay. I had the privilege, and nowadays I really think I can call it a privilege, to grow up in a household that only had one TV, and it was one of those giant flipping, not the flat screen TVs, the other ones. You can throw a tennis ball at that thing, and it will bounce off the TV, and then I will catch it again while I'm on the couch, and then I would throw the tennis ball again against the TV, and it will bounce off the TV again, and then throw back at me, and I will catch it. This is something that I did. I had a Nintendo DS, which the battery of that thing lasted for a whole week. And yeah, I just hung out with my friends outside. We were laying rocks on train tracks, watching trains roll over them and crush them, do all kinds of retarded shit like that. And I'm not saying that we had it way better than kids now and blah. I don't want to sound like that. I really don't want to sound like an old man yelling at the clouds. I'm not even that old. I'm not even in my 30s. Spiritually, I was probably born as an old man. I work a lot together with kids. I think I already mentioned in the video that I help to coach the kids groups at my martial arts school, and I don't really have the impression that all the kids are cooked, and same goes for the teens. So of course language changed, the way they interact with each other changed, but this is just a natural process. And I guess progress, whatever progress means nowadays, progress in drone and surveillance technology, but nothing else. But however, I don't want to spew negativity in here. I'm just here for the whole experience to see if humanity will now finish the Tower of Babel in its second attempt. God bless us all. God bless us all. God bless every single one of you all. May He give us patience, and until next time.